Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a nice feel-good yoga flow for you. So if you're in need of a little pick-me-up, this class is going to be perfect for you. So we're gonna get started right at the top of the mat, coming into our mountain pose. So just bringing your feet about hip-width distance apart, and then coming to flip the palms to face outward, away from you. And taking a slight bend in the knees, drawing the pelvis slightly in. And I invite you to close your eyes if that suits you today. You don't have to. If you choose not to close the eyes, you can just keep the eyes soft. And in fact, we're going to start by trying to soften everything in our body here, especially if you're coming to this practice today holding any sort of tension. You're frustrated, you're stressed, you might be physically clenching in places. Our glutes, our palms, our fists, the space in between the eyebrows, our jaw, those are a lot of places where we hold tension. I want you to take a nice big deep breath in, and on your exhale, just actively try to soften everything in the body. And we're going to do that for a couple of times, taking a nice big deep inhale and exhale, just trying to feel soft. Maybe taking this time to set some sort of an intention for yourself. Whatever it may be, if nothing's coming to you, don't make that be an added stress for you. You don't have to have an intention, it's optional. We'll just take about 5 more breaths here, just breathing before we start to move. On our next inhale, we're going to rise the arms all the way up overhead. Clasp the hands, draw the knuckles all the way up. Maybe as you draw the knuckles all the way up, you lift your heels all the way up. Ooh, hello, balance. And then exhale, slowly let it go. 2 more times like that. Inhale, raise the arms up overhead, clasp the hands, palms draw all the way up towards the ceiling. Lifting your heels up, baby. And exhale, slowly release it down. 1 more time. Inhaling in. And then this time on your exhale, we're gonna come to take a forward fold. So release it all the way in a forward fold. And just taking any breaths that come natural to you here or movements. I always like to kind of shake my head out a little bit here. Yes. No. So just easing into movement here. Pedaling out your heels a little bit. So I like to lift one heel up and then straighten my other leg. Just starting to warm up the backs of the legs. And then centering myself out, just walking my hands over to the right side, feeling a nice stretch in my left side body, as well as the back of my right leg and my glutes. And then keeping my head down, walking my hands over to the left side. And then bringing your hands all the way back to center. Inhale, we'll take a flat back position. Bring your gaze straight ahead. And then exhale, folding all the way down. We'll plant the palms of the hands down onto the ground. Stepping one foot back, stepping other foot back, finding ourselves in a plank position. And just taking a couple of moments here. Once again, you can kind of play around here. There's no right or wrong. Maybe shifting a little bit forwards and back, pedaling out the knees, but making sure that you're not sticking your tush up too high, not dipping the hips down too low. It's the Goldilocks effect. It's just right. We'll all take a modified chaturanga by dropping the knees down and hugging the elbows in towards your body as you lower yourself down in one long line. And then slide your hands slightly forward in front of you. Inhale to lift the chest all the way up. Oh, juicy goodness. Looking over one shoulder. Drop your chin down, look over the other shoulder. And then returning all the way back to center. Exhale to lower your body down all the way. Slide your hands back in towards your body. Bend the knees. Tuck the toes, send it back to a downward facing dog. First downward facing dog of the class. Might not be the prettiest, in fact it probably won't be. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be your own. So play around, have some fun with it. Pedal it out, shake it out, move your head. You can even take a little vinyasa here, if that's what your body wants. And we'll take 3 more breaths to play around here. As you can tell, lots of freestyle moments in this class today. I want you to let your body express itself any way that it wants, because some things might feel good for my body that won't work for you, and vice versa. On our inhale, we're going to carefully drop the knees all the way down to come into a tabletop position, and then drop the belly down, look up, coming into our cow. And then exhale, round the spine, tuck the toes, send it all the way back, downward facing dog. We're gonna do that 4 more times. So nice and slow. On your inhale, dropping the knees down, dropping the belly down, look up. Exhale, round the spine first, coming into that cat, and then send it back, downward facing dog. 3 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time here. Inhale. And then on your exhale, just start to rock your hips a little bit side to side. So we're staying in that tabletop position. And once again, we're gonna have some fun and play around. No right or wrong here. Little freestyle moment. I'm gonna walk my hands out even further out away from me and just kind of draw some circles with my hips. Draw those circles in the opposite direction. Now I'm gonna come into a puppy pose because for me that's one of my absolute favorites. So just make sure if you want to take that puppy pose with me, again, totally optional, you don't have to, that your knees are in line with your hips, and you want to make sure that your arms are like 2 railroad tracks. You're gonna walk your fingertips out, 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 and then start to drop the forearms down and drop your forehead down. So here the tendency would be to allow the elbows to spill out to the side. So they'll be out further away from the hands. So try not to allow your elbows to do that. And I'm gonna round my spine, allow myself to come forwards into a Sphinx pose. So now I'm on my belly, making sure I'm not sinking down into the mat, but I'm lifting my energy up and out. Maybe even imagining like I'm trying to rip my mat in half and lift my chest all the way up to come into a seal pose. 1 more big deep inhale. And on my exhale, I'm just gonna drop my chest down, make a pillow with my hands. Bend my heels in towards the tush. And just make a little windshield wiper motion here. Really making sure that I press my pelvis firmly down into the ground so I'm not making any funky movements with my low back. Should feel good for the low back, in fact. And then I'm going to return my feet back down, straight down onto the ground. Slide my hands back in towards my body. And just like we did before, tuck my toes under and send it back to a downward facing dog. All right, so this time in this downward facing dog, let's send our right leg all the way up into the air. So 3-leg dog, trying to root through the left heel, and then keeping your shoulders nice and square. You can start to turn open the hip, maybe even bending your heel in towards the tush, really allowing that hip to open. And then straightening that leg all the way back up. And then 3 times we're gonna roll all the way forwards to squeeze the knee all the way in towards the chest, around the spine. Inhale, send it all the way back up, 3-leg dog. Exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale, send it up. Exhale, squeeze it in. And this time, quietly try to step the foot all the way up in between the hands. Take a moment here, rock a little bit forwards and back, feeling a big stretch in the front of the left hip. And then carefully placing your knee all the way down. Keep leaning into that stretch. Oh, it feels so good. Something so juicy, delicious about opening up the hips, which you're gonna be continuing to do in a moment. But first, let's start to straighten your right leg. So the heel is down and your toes are flexed up, and you try to keep your hips square, so don't let the hips come over to the right too much. And then, best you can, dropping your chest down towards the thigh, and perhaps trying to inch your fingertips out away from you even more. So that's going to deepen that stretch in the hamstring muscles, which are the back of the leg, which is where we're targeting in this one. And then on your next exhale, let's rebend into the right knee. And this time, inch your right foot out to the right corner of the mat, and then take both hands to the inside of the right foot. Now you can stay here. If you want to intensify it with me and add on a little bit, you can choose maybe to open out your right foot a little bit. So you open it out like a book. And then perhaps dropping down onto your forearms. And then maybe from here, when you're on your forearms, you can choose to tuck the toes under and lift that back knee back up. And just rock it out a little bit here. Working on opening out that right hip. Three more breaths wherever you are. If your knee is lifted, you can carefully place it all the way back down. Start to press back into the palms of the hands, and then inch your right foot back into the center line of the mat. We tuck our toes under, and we send it all the way back to our downward facing dog. Awesome work. Reset that by pedaling out the heels and taking another freestyle moment. And then this time we'll root through the right heel so we can send our left leg all the way up to come into that 3-leg dog. And trying to keep the shoulders square, we'll start to open out that hip. Maybe bending the heel in towards the tush, putting the wall behind me. And then extend that leg all the way back up 3 times. On our exhale, we round the spine to squeeze the knee all the way in towards the nose. Inhale, send it all the way back up. Exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale it up. Last time, exhale, squeeze it in. We quietly try not to make a sound. Step that foot up in between the hands. And take a moment here to rock a little bit forwards and back. This time we feel the stretch in the front of the right hip. And then once again, quietly dropping that back knee down. And then trying to lean forwards. Ah, so good. Let's straighten that left leg, bringing the heel down, toes flexed up towards the ceiling. Keep your hips square, walking the hands out a little further away from you, just deepen the stretch just a little bit. Chest is coming towards the thigh. And then next exhale, we'll rebend into that knee and start to walk the left toes to the left corner of the mat. Either staying here, noticing that one side may be different than the other, that's okay. Or maybe we drop all the way down onto the forearms, maybe opening out that left foot like a book. And then from here, if you want to deepen even further, you can tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee up. Again, I kind of like to rock a little bit forwards and back. Two more breaths wherever you are. And if your knee is lifted, at this time we'll drop that knee down. Now, different transition this time. We're gonna press back into the palms of the hands. You're gonna be keeping your left foot exactly where it is. We're gonna pick up the right back knee and maybe one hop or two hops to step that right foot to the outside of the right hand. And we're gonna sink it down into a Yogi Malasana squat. Now your hips should be more open than when you first got to the mat, but it still might not be where you want it to be. That's okay. So I kind of like to lift and lower my tushy to kind of get that range of motion going. And then perhaps taking the hands to heart center, using your elbows to press in to the inner thighs to open it out even more. Now you want to make sure here that if your hands are at your heart, that you're not closing off your chest, but you're able to stay nice and open. We'll take the right hand down. Inhale the left arm all the way up, little side bend. And then taking the left hand down, sending the right arm up, side bend. And then on your exhale, place both hands down. We're gonna bring the toes to face towards the front of the room. Open out the feet even more to come into a nice wide-legged forward fold. And hang out here. You can bend a little bit right and left if that feels good. To intensify it, you can try to walk your hands right in line with the feet. Two more breaths. On your next inhale, we're going to come into a flat back position in that wide fold. And then exhale, fold it back down. A few more times like that. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. This time taking the hands to your hips and slowly coming up all the way into a standing position. And then we're just going to point the right toes to face towards the front of the mat and exhale, bend into that knee to come into a warrior two. Oh, just like that, here we are. So you should be in that nice wide open stance from that wide fold. But if you want to intensify it a little bit more or deepen it a little bit more, you can inch your left foot back away from the, back further away from you too. Goal here, 90-degree angle in the front knee. You might be nowhere near that though, and that is a-okay. All All right, now on your inhale, we're gonna straighten your front leg and then reach with the right arm and bump your left hip back. Once you can't reach anymore, we're gonna come all the way down, surrender down into a triangle pose. So your right hand can be on the ankle, or you can bring it to the inside of your right foot. If you have a block or a textbook or something, you can place your hand on that. If your neck allows, you can bring your gaze up towards your left hand. One more breath here. And then exhale, taking your left hand back onto your hip and carefully sliding the right hand all the way back up. And then bringing your toes once again to face towards the front. And then this time, bringing your left toes to face towards what is the back of the mat, but now the front of the mat for you. And coming into your warrior two on the other side. So this time, with your left toes straight ahead. Once again, you can choose to deepen this even more by walking your right toes back away from you even more and bending deeper into that standing leg. Relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears, make sure they're not hiking up. Remember, we tried to get rid of that tension. And then inhale, we'll straighten that left leg, bump your right hips back, and then reach with your left hand. Once you can't reach anymore, you'll surrender to take your left hand down onto the ankle, next to the left foot, or perhaps on that block or that book. Once again, you have the option to bring your gaze up towards the hands, or you can keep your gaze down or slightly forward. Just depends on neck mobility. And then taking your right hand back onto the hip and carefully sliding to engage the obliques, that left hand up your leg. Taking a little bend into your left knee, one, maybe two hops to come up to what was the back of the mat, but is now the front of the mat. Inhale, we'll rise the arms all the way up. And then exhale, fold all the way down. Drop your head down. Inhale, flat back position, gaze straight ahead. Exhale, fold all the way down. Moving through vinyasa, so step it back into your plank. Move through either a modified chaturanga or a full chaturanga. Inhale, lifting up through cobra, or maybe this time upward facing dog. And then exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Pedal it out right here. I'm just gonna turn around in preparation for what our next pose is so you can see where I'm going with this one. So we're gonna raise the right leg all the way up. And then this time, instead of squeezing our knee in towards our chest, on our exhale, we're gonna squeeze the knee into the left elbow. And then inhale, send it back up. 2 more times like that. Exhale, squeeze it into the left elbow. Inhale, rise it up. Exhale, squeeze it in. Now this time, hold. We're going to try to extend the leg all the way out and then pivot so we're on the side of our left foot, and then raise the left arm all the way up. So we're in a fallen triangle. Try not to dump all your weight down into that right hand. Big deep inhale. And then on our exhale, we're gonna take the left hand all the way down and then just drop our hips down, coming into what is called an awkward upward facing dog. I got this one from Fit by Laurie. You guys know by now I love her. This one feels so good for the IT band, which is the side the outside side of your leg. You can kind of try to surrender yourself down. So I'm just down on my forearms right here. And then pressing back into the palms of the hands. Walking your hands back in towards your body. And then drawing the knee all the way in towards the chest. And then sending it back into your downward facing dog. Awesome, awesome work. We're gonna be doing that same thing on the other side. So beginning with that left leg, right elbow. So here we go, sending the left leg up into a 3-leg dog. And then on your exhale, squeezing to connect left knee, right elbow. And then inhale, extending it up. 2 more times, exhale to the right. Inhale, send it up. Exhale this time. Once we bring it over, we're gonna hold right there. Try to extend the legs straight out. Pivot to come onto the side of our right foot. And then bringing the right arm all the way up to come into that fallen triangle. Keep lifting the hips all the way up. And then exhale, drop your hips down. Take the right hand down. Ooh, this side is tighter for me. And then start to walk the hands all the way out. Maybe dropping your forearms all the way down. Two more breaths. Here we go, pressing back into the palms of the hands, walking your hands back in towards your body, coming back onto the right toes, squeezing the left knee in towards the chest, and then sending it all the way back to a downward facing dog. Pedal it out. All right, here's last call for vinyasa. Take it or leave it. Either way, I'm gonna meet you guys in a nice wide-legged child's pose. The ultimate feel-good posture, right? Just deepening your breath here. Maybe taking this time to revisit your intention. If you set one in the beginning of class, maybe noticing any changes that have arisen in your body, whether that be physically, mentally, emotionally. Returning to that exhaling of softness. So noticing maybe the hips are a bit tensed here, the shoulders, the glutes, the knees. Where can you release? And use your breath to do that. 3 more breaths. Awesome. Now on your next inhale, we'll start to walk the hands all the way back in towards our body. Shift onto one side of the tush. And extend our legs all the way out in front of us. Now you can take as generous bend in the knees as you need to. My hammies are always super tight, so I'm gonna keep a little bend. We're gonna inhale, bring the arms all the way up overhead. And on your exhale, hinge from the hips to try and drop the chest all the way down towards your thighs. Now the more you bend your knees, you're gonna take it out of the hamstrings and bring it to the low back, which is okay if you need it there. I kind of like to sway into getting a little bit deeper here, but that's just me, you don't have to. 2 more breaths. Shaking my head out a little bit here too. Inhale, slowly rising all the way back up. Rock the shoulders out a little bit, and then I'm gonna scooch myself all the way up. Take my arms out by my side, engage my core to slowly, slowly, slowly lower myself down all the way. Once I get there, giving myself a nice big hug because I deserve it. I'm gonna squeeze my head all the way up towards my knees. Big, big squeeze, big, big hug. And then on my exhale, drop the soles of the feet down and bring my arms up over my head. Lift all the way up into a bridge position. 3 more times. Inhale, big hug. Exhale, bridge position. Inhale, big hug. Exhale, bridge. Inhale, big hug. Exhale, let's hold that bridge. Imagining like you have a block in between your thighs, so your abductor muscles, which is your inner thigh muscles, are nice and engaged. You feel the glutes tense. And exhale, vertebra by vertebra, super, super slow. Kind of round your spine to slowly, slowly, slowly lower yourself all the way back down. We'll extend the left leg all the way out and hug the right knee in towards our chest. Release. Let's into a spinal twist. So crossing your right knee over the body. Really trying to press your right shoulder blade into the ground. Maybe getting your low back to crack if you're lucky. And then hugging the right knee back in towards the chest. And then switching it to the other side. Left knee comes in towards the chest. And taking it across the body into a spinal twist. There goes my back. It's always the left side that I get. Keep pressing your left shoulder blade down into the ground. And slowly returning it back to center. Taking any final movements that your body craves before we come into our final resting posture, our Shavasana. Taking any position that feels good for you. So again, there's no right or wrong here. It's whatever your body is craving right now. Just letting your breath deepen. Once again, inviting that softness. And I thank you guys so much for joining me today in this yoga flow. I certainly do hope that it helped. If you needed a little yoga pick-me-up, maybe you didn't even realize you needed one. Either way, I hope you guys are feeling awesome after that. And I will see you guys soon in another video. Namaste.